Before the eyes can see it, the body senses it. A distant vibration passes through the ground, subtle at first, like thunder trapped beneath the earth. The air thickens, cool and damp, carrying the scent of rain and green leaves. Then the sound arrives, deep, continuous, alive. Not a crash, not a splash, but a relentless roar, as if the planet itself is breathing. This is Iguazu. Hidden within a vast subtropical forest at the meeting point of nations, Iguazu Falls is not a single moment of falling water, but an unending declaration of force. Here, a river reaches the edge of the world and refuses to slow. It fractures into hundreds of streams, plunging into darkness, rising again as mist, light, and echo. Mist drifts like smoke through the trees. Rainbows form and vanish in seconds. The forest trembles, not in fear, but in recognition. This place has spoken for millions of years. To stand before Iguazu is to lose a sense of scale. Human voices disappear. Time softens. The mind stops measuring and begins to feel. This is not nature as scenery. It is nature in command. Long before maps were drawn, long before borders existed, the people who lived here believed the falls were alive. They believed the water carried memory, anger, love, and warning. Even today, that belief feels close to the truth. Because Iguazu does not ask to be admired. It demands to be witnessed. And once heard, its voice never leaves you. Iguazu Falls stretches across nearly 3 kilometers of fractured stone and cascading water, forming one of the widest and most complex waterfall systems on Earth. Rather than a single vertical plunge, Iguazu is a sprawling network of more than 270 individual falls, separated by forested islands and sculpted rock channels, each shaped by time and force. The falls lie along the border of northeastern Argentina and southern Brazil, within the Paraná Plateau, a region born in fire. Around 130 million years ago, massive volcanic eruptions flooded this land with molten basalt. Layer upon layer of lava spread across the surface, cooling into dark, hardened rock and forming a vast geological foundation. But stone, no matter how solid, is never permanent. Over millions of years, water began to exploit weaknesses in the basalt, cracks, joints, and softer sedimentary layers beneath. The Iguazu River slowly carved its path, eroding the plateau inch by inch. As sections collapsed, the edge of the falls retreated upstream, creating the stepped structure seen today. The most dramatic result of this process is the Devil's Throat, or Garganta del Diablo, a massive U-shaped chasm nearly 80 meters deep and 150 meters wide. Here, the river narrows suddenly, forcing an enormous volume of water into a confined space. The result is overwhelming. A wall of falling water that vanishes into a boiling cloud of mist, rising continuously as if the earth itself were exhaling. Unlike tall, narrow waterfalls that emphasize height, Iguazu overwhelms through scale and multiplicity. It is not a single spectacle, but hundreds happening at once. From above, the river appears calm, even gentle. Then, the ground breaks open, and the water is gone, shattered into motion, sound, and vapor. The islands between the falls are remnants of resistant rock, slowly eroding but still holding their ground. Trees grow upon them, their roots gripping stone, defying gravity and spray. These islands constantly change shape, reminding us that Iguazu is not fixed. It is evolving, retreating, reshaping itself with every flood and collapse. Geologically speaking, Iguazu is still young. The falls continue to migrate upstream at a slow but measurable pace. What we see today is only a brief chapter in a much longer story, a pause in a process that began millions of years ago and will continue long after human presence fades. Iguazu is not simply a waterfall. It is a moving boundary between land and void, stability and collapse, a place where the earth reveals how it is made and how it is unmade, drop by drop. Long before it becomes thunder, the Iguazu River is patient. It begins in the highlands of southern Brazil, where rainfall gathers quietly across rolling terrain and forested slopes. Small streams merge into larger ones, and over time, a river takes shape, steady, unhurried, almost modest in appearance. For hundreds of kilometers, Iguazu flows without spectacle, carving a gentle path through the land, carrying the memory of distant storms. But as the river approaches the edge of the Paraná Plateau, its character changes. The ground beneath it fractures. The river widens, then splits, threading itself around islands of stone and vegetation. Channels multiply. Currents accelerate. What once moved calmly now rushes forward with intent, pulled by gravity toward a sudden absence of land. Seasonal rainfall plays a defining role in this transformation. During the wet season, typically from late spring through summer, rainfall across the basin increases dramatically. Tributaries swell, and the river's volume can double or even triple. The falls grow louder, wider, more aggressive, sometimes overwhelming walkways and reshaping the flow of individual cascades. In drier months, the river recedes, revealing more of the underlying rock. The falls become more segmented, their voices slightly softened, yet never silent. This rhythmic expansion and contraction is the river's pulse, a living system responding constantly to climate and terrain. As water plunges over the falls, it does not simply disappear. Enormous quantities are atomized into mist, rising high above the gorge. This airborne water settles back onto the forest as fine rain, feeding soil, plants, and streams that eventually return water to the river itself. It is a closed cycle, falling, rising, returning. Beneath the surface, groundwater flows through porous rock layers, slowly releasing moisture back into the system long after rains have passed. This hidden movement stabilizes the river's flow and sustains life during dry periods. The Iguazu River is not just a source of power, it is a circulatory system. Every drop is connected to another, every fall a continuation of a much longer journey. What seems like chaos at the edge is, in truth, the visible expression of a deeply balanced and ancient design. The world around Iguazu Falls exists in a state of perpetual moisture and warmth, shaped by a humid subtropical climate that supports one of South America's richest ecosystems. Temperatures remain moderate to warm throughout the year, rarely extreme, while rainfall is generous and reliable. But the falls themselves create something more than climate. They create atmosphere. Mist rises constantly from the cascades, drifting through the forest like a moving veil. This moisture cools the air, softens light, and keeps the surrounding vegetation saturated even during periods of reduced rainfall. The result is a unique microclimate, where life thrives in abundance, adapted to water in all its forms. Morning often arrives wrapped in fog. Sunlight breaks through slowly, filtering down in pale shafts that illuminate leaves and vines. By midday, the forest hums with heat and movement. By night, moisture clings to every surface, and the sounds of unseen creatures fill the darkness. The ecosystem surrounding Iguazu is part of the Atlantic forest, one of the most biologically diverse and most threatened biomes on Earth. Layers of vegetation stack upon one another, towering canopy trees above, dense understory below, and a living carpet of mosses, fungi, and leaf litter at ground level. Water shapes everything here. Soil remains rich and fertile, constantly replenished by organic material washed down from above. Fallen leaves decay quickly in the warm, damp conditions, returning nutrients to the forest in an endless cycle. The presence of the falls amplifies this productivity. Plants near the cascades grow larger, greener, more resilient. Ferns cling to cliffs. Epiphytes thrive in mist-heavy air. Even bare rock becomes habitat. This environment supports an intricate web of life, where survival depends not on dominance, but on adaptation. Every species, plant, insect, bird, and mammal, exists in relationship to the rhythm of rain and river. The surrounding ecosystem is not merely a backdrop to Iguazu Falls. It is a direct consequence of them. Without the river, the forest would change. Without the forest, the river would behave differently. Together, they form a single breathing system, one shaped by water, sustained by balance, and refined over thousands of years of uninterrupted continuity. The rainforest surrounding Iguazu Falls is not silent. It breathes, moves, listens. Every surface is alive, every space filled. This is the Atlantic forest, one of the most biologically dense ecosystems on the planet, and here, at the edge of the falls, it reaches one of its most vibrant expressions. Towering above all else is the canopy. Ancient hardwood trees rise toward the light. Lapacho, cedar, and massive fig trees, whose roots twist and spill across the forest floor like living sculptures. Their crowns form a green ceiling, filtering sunlight into soft, shifting patterns below. These giants provide shelter, food, and structure for countless other species, anchoring the forest in place. Beneath them, the understory thickens. Palms, vines, and shrubs compete for space, their leaves broad and glossy, designed to capture every drop of moisture. Orchids bloom high on branches, suspended in air, while bromeliads collect rainwater in their cups, creating miniature ecosystems where insects, frogs, and larvae live entire lifetimes. Closer to the falls, vegetation becomes even more specialized. Constant mist allows mosses and ferns to carpet rock faces. Plants cling where soil does not exist, drawing nutrients directly from air and water. Life here is not delicate, it is persistent. Animal life moves through this layered world with precision. Jaguars, the forest's apex predators, remain mostly unseen, traveling vast territories under cover of foliage. Their presence shapes the ecosystem, controlling populations and maintaining balance. More visible are coyotes, agile and social, moving in noisy groups along trails and riverbanks. High above, the forest comes alive with sound and color. Toucans flash through the canopy, their oversized beaks vibrant against the green. Parrots and macaws call across distances, their voices echoing between trees. Hummingbirds hover in bursts of iridescent light, feeding from flowers that bloom in perfect timing with their migrations. Monkeys, howlers, and capuchins announce the morning with deep, resonant calls that roll through the forest like distant drums. Amphibians thrive in the moisture, their skins adapted to absorb water and oxygen directly from the air. Reptiles warm themselves on sunlit rocks, disappearing the moment shadows shift. Insects are everywhere, often unnoticed, yet essential. Butterflies drift through clearings, termites recycle fallen wood, and pollinators keep the forest alive one bloom at a time. This is not chaos, it is orchestration. Every species plays a role, every adaptation a response to water, heat, and time. The Iguazu rainforest is not simply a place of beauty, it is a system of astonishing precision, refined by thousands of years of uninterrupted evolution, sustained by the ceaseless rhythm of falling water. Long before the roar of Iguazu was measured in decibels or admired from walkways, it was known as something far deeper, a sacred presence. For the Guarani people, who lived in this region for centuries, the falls were not a landscape feature. They were a living force. In Guarani cosmology, Iguazu was born from emotion. One legend tells of Naipi, a young woman promised to a powerful serpent god, and Taroba, her forbidden lover. When the two attempted to escape by canoe, the god struck the river in anger, splitting the earth and creating the falls. Naipi was transformed into stone, forever bound to the cascade, while Taroba became a tree, rooted at the river's edge, condemned to watch her fall eternally. These stories were not myths meant to entertain. They were explanations. Ways to understand power, loss, love, and the danger of defying forces greater than oneself. For indigenous communities, the river was a provider, It offered fish, fertile land, medicinal plants, and spiritual guidance. Rituals were performed near the water. Stories were passed down through generations, carried by the sound of the falls themselves. Even the name Iguazu comes from the Guarani language, often translated as Great Water, simple, direct, and deeply accurate. When European explorers arrived, they saw a natural wonder. The Guarani saw an ancient presence. That difference in perspective remains important today. Modern conservation efforts increasingly recognize indigenous knowledge as essential. Traditional understanding of seasonal rhythms, plant uses, and ecological balance offers insights that science alone cannot replace. Iguazu is more than a destination. It is a cultural memory etched into stone and water. To truly understand it, one must listen, not only to the roar of the falls, but to the voices that have echoed alongside it for centuries. For thousands of years, Iguazu Falls existed beyond the world's maps, known only to those who lived beside its roar. To the outside world, it was invisible, not because it was hidden, but because no one had yet learned how to describe something so vast. That changed in 1541, when Spanish explorer Álvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca encountered the falls during an expedition through the dense forests of South America. Accounts suggest that he was stunned by what he saw, a river that did not end, but exploded into emptiness. He named the site Santa Maria del Iguazu, marking the first recorded European recognition of the falls. Yet discovery did not bring understanding. For centuries after, Iguazu remained remote and largely inaccessible. Thick jungle, powerful rivers, and the absence of roads kept it isolated. Explorers, missionaries, and cartographers heard of the falls through stories, often exaggerated, always incomplete. Many doubted such a place could truly exist as described. It was not until the late 19th century that Iguazu began to emerge from obscurity. Scientific expeditions arrived, documenting the geology, measuring the water flow, and mapping the labyrinth of cascades. Artists and photographers followed, attempting, often unsuccessfully, to capture its scale. In 1891, Argentina formally recognized the area's significance, laying early groundwork for protection. Soon after, Brazil did the same. The falls began their transformation from a legendary obstacle into a shared natural treasure. But even as knowledge expanded, one truth remained constant. Iguazu resisted ownership. No map could fully contain it. No description could reduce it to numbers. Exploration revealed its dimensions, but never diminished its power. The more humans learned, the more they realized that Iguazu was not a destination to be conquered, but a presence to be respected. Today, Iguazu Falls stands among the most visited natural wonders on Earth, drawing millions of visitors each year. Yet unlike many iconic destinations, its transformation into a global attraction has been guided by restraint. The falls are protected within Iguazu National Park in Argentina and Iguazu National Park in Brazil, together forming a vast conservation corridor recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This dual protection ensures that the river, forest, and wildlife are preserved beyond political boundaries. Modern tourism here is designed to observe, not overwhelm. Elevated walkways thread through the forest canopy, allowing visitors to approach the falls without trampling the ecosystem below. Viewing platforms offer breathtaking perspectives while keeping human presence controlled and concentrated. Boat excursions venture close to the cascades, delivering moments of raw immersion, soaking mist, thunderous sound, and the visceral force of falling water. But even these experiences operate under strict limits, ensuring safety and sustainability. Tourism revenue plays a critical role in conservation. Funds support park maintenance, scientific research, wildlife monitoring, and environmental education. Local communities benefit through employment, guiding services, and cultural tourism initiatives, strengthening the link between preservation and livelihood. Yet popularity brings pressure. Infrastructure must expand carefully. Foot traffic must be managed, wildlife must remain undisturbed. Park authorities continuously adapt, closing sensitive areas, restoring damaged trails, and monitoring visitor impact in real time. Technology now aids conservation. Drones monitor forest health. Satellite data tracks climate changes. Researchers study river flow patterns to anticipate floods and droughts. Education centers teach visitors not just what they are seeing, but why it matters. Iguazu's success lies in balance. It is accessible, yet protected, celebrated, yet not consumed. The goal is not to freeze the falls in time, but to allow them to continue their natural evolution uninterrupted by excess. Here, tourism becomes something more than travel. It becomes stewardship. A shared responsibility to ensure that the thunder never fades and that future generations will stand in the same mist, hearing the same eternal roar. Despite its immense power, Iguazu Falls is not immune to change. The forces that shaped it over millions of years now face new pressures, faster, sharper, and driven by human activity far beyond the horizon. Climate change is the most significant threat. Shifts in rainfall patterns across the Iguazu River basin have already begun to affect water flow. Periods of intense flooding are followed by unexpected droughts, testing the stability of ecosystems that rely on predictable cycles. The river still roars, but its rhythm is becoming less certain. Deforestation upstream poses another challenge. When forests are cleared, soil erodes more quickly, clouding the river with sediment and altering its course. Without trees to absorb rainfall, floods become more destructive and dry seasons more severe. What happens hundreds of kilometers away inevitably reaches the edge of the falls. Invasive species also threaten the delicate balance of the Atlantic forest, competing with native plants and animals that evolved in precise harmony with this environment. Preservation efforts, however, are equally powerful. Argentina and Brazil work together to manage the national parks as a shared ecosystem rather than divided territory. Scientists monitor river flow, wildlife populations, and forest health using advanced technology alongside traditional ecological knowledge. Reforestation programs restore damaged areas, while strict regulations limit development near sensitive zones. Indigenous voices are increasingly included in conservation planning, recognizing that protection is strongest when guided by those who have lived in balance with the land for generations. The future of Iguazu depends not on stopping change, but on guiding it wisely. When night falls over Iguazu, the crowds fade and the forest reclaims its voice. The roar of water remains, unchanged, unbroken. It has echoed through ice ages, through fire and forest, through the rise and fall of civilizations. Long after footsteps vanish from the walkways, the river will still arrive at the edge and leap forward without hesitation. Drop by drop, it will continue its ancient work, shaping stone, feeding life, reminding the world that power does not need permission. Iguazu does not belong to any nation, any era, or any generation. It belongs to time itself. To witness the falls is to feel both small and connected. Small before their scale. Connected to the same forces that carved mountains, filled oceans, and set rivers in motion. In that moment, human concerns fall away, replaced by something older and deeper. A respect that needs no words. The thunder of Iguazu is not noise, it is memory. It carries the past in every falling stream and the future in every rising mist. As long as the river flows, the story continues. And as long as the earth remembers how to speak, Iguazu will be heard.